say to everyone who got up at 4 a.m. this morning to be here with us, thank you very much, Dallas. We appreciate the welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Once again, give it up for Skip Bayless. 1 second. And give it up for Stephen A. Smith, ladies. Yes.
And Carrie,
yes,
I got to ask this audience from the great city of Dallas, Texas, just one quiet little question. How about them Cowboys? How about them?
Yes. Yes.
You know, I actually think we have some Cowboy haters.
I know. I hear a lot of boos. I hear a lot of boos. I hear a lot of boos.
Yeah.
I'll do it again for you. How about them Cowboys?
Yeah.
We'll see Monday.
Okay.
We'll see Monday.
So, no, seriously, we really do thank you guys for being here. It means a lot. When we go on the road, there's really something special about it. And for those of you at home, we can't explain it, but the energy here is magnetic. So, again, we thank you so much for being here. Coming up today, we have some special guests, so you guys get to meet Danny Cannell. He's our college football analyst. He'll be here to share his insights, so he'll win the national title game. Also, the great Larry Brown, SMU head coach. Give it up for him, you guys. He'll be here. So you guys ready to get the show started, right? Are you guys ready for the show to start? Let's begin with our first topic. We're talking about Dallas, of course, those Cowboys and Green Bay Packers. I don't know if you guys know this. Aaron Rodgers has not practiced at all since they won. And so they said that he may or may not practice this week due to that injury he had on his calf. However, the offensive coordinator for the Packers says it's not really a big deal. Back in 2008, Aaron Rodgers missed an entire month and was still able to play well. So here's the question. Now that he is not practicing at this moment, trying to heal his body for the upcoming game against the Dallas Cowboys, Skip Bayless, does this give Dallas the advantage?
So, Stephen A. Smith, my friend, you, the biggest champion of the bad man that is Aaron Rodgers.
He's a bad man.
Yes.
All of a sudden, I'm hearing and reading last night that Aaron Rodgers hasn't been practicing. It's going on, dare I say, 10 days with no practice off a little calf tweak? No, that couldn't be happening. And I concluded when I woke up this morning, this can't hurt my Dallas Cowboys, right? And I'm here to tell you, I think it could be the first sign that something very special could happen in Green Bay, Wisconsin this Sunday. Stephen A. Smith, we often see in sports that teams just get on a meant-to-be kind of roll, where they start to get all the little and big breaks. All of a sudden, pass interference flags mysteriously get picked up. How did that happen? It just happened. And all of a sudden, the opposing quarterback, who at home is the baddest man in all of pro football, he can't practice. And not that I would ever wish injury upon any opposing quarterback, but you have to wonder, will Aaron Rodgers possibly, at the home that he owns, be just a tad bit rusty if he can't practice this week? Might he tweak his calf? Might he tweak his hamstring as he tries to protect his calf? Because we know he had a hamstring issue. And all of a sudden, you might just sit back and say, this man, who has been as dominant at home as any quarterback I can ever remember in all my time of covering pro football, because he has not thrown an interception at home since December 2nd of 2012. And in that span, he's thrown 36 touchdown passes to zero interceptions. Well, maybe something's going on here atmospherically here in Dallas, Texas, where special things are starting to happen. And maybe the breaks that this team gets is that the opposing quarterback, as great as he is, might have just a bad day as opposed to being that very bad man. So I'm starting to like my chances on Sunday, especially after the opposing quarterback cannot practice for a couple of weeks.
Well, it's interesting that you would say that on a day like today, because all your points are salient. They make sense. I understand that. But we are in Dallas, Texas. We are having Larry Brown here a little bit later on in the show, so it is apropos for me to say what I'm about to say. Practice, man. We talking about practice,
man.
You understand?
I mean,
you understand? I mean, you have got to be kidding me. Now, I will openly confess to you that I will be very concerned if Sunday arrives and Aaron Rodgers is not okay, that calf is still bothering him, that he can't scramble out of the pocket, he can't run it off. I will definitely be concerned. I'll give you that. But if Aaron Rodgers doesn't practice and the rest itself leads to him being 100% healthy for Sunday's game, I am not concerned in the slightest. I'm going to say it again. We are talking about a bad man. And I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers. He's the best quarterback in football. I believe that when all is said and done, he will go down as the greatest. There is no question in my mind.
Got a long ways to go.
He got a long ways to go, but he's closer to that than practically anybody else as far as I'm concerned. And then when I look at it, when I look at Aaron Rodgers, well, let's see. He's going to be at Lambeau Field, a place where he hasn't thrown an interception in 2 years. He's got 36 touchdowns with 0 interceptions. They were averaging over 40 points at home. And who are they going against? They ain't going against Seattle's defense. They're going against Dallas's defense. Now, we can sit up in here and talk about the Dallas Cowboys all we want to. We all understand their offense is big time. Des Bryant is a stud. Tony Romo is having an MVP caliber season. DeMarco Murray is my MVP of this year. I look at their offensive line. It is elite. We all know that Dallas's offense is no joke. But the defense, while respectable and far better than any of us thought they would be, if no one expected anything from you, I mean, damn, ain't nowhere to go but up. So as far as I'm concerned, when I look at the Dallas Cowboys defense, then I take into account it ain't the $1 billion. I understand they're undefeated on the road. Trust me, I get that. But it ain't the $1 billion playpen, nor is it a road game in San Diego or Pasadena or someplace like that. This is Lambeau Field. It's going to be freezing out there. You understand what I'm saying? You got to be accustomed to that kind of stuff to deal with. And by the way, don't give me the fact that the Dallas Cowboys went on the road and beat Chicago in inclement weather. They were playing against Jay Cutler. Enough said. This is Aaron Rodgers. This is Aaron Rodgers. So because of that, what I would say to you is, be careful. Watch your tongue and be respectful. But last but not least, could you be more pathetic? You are sitting there and literally, Dallas Cowboys supposed to be a legitimate Super Bowl contender. And here Skip Bayless
Who said that?
Here's Skip
We've
Bayless.
already leaped to that conclusion?
No, I'm just saying they're in the playoffs. That's all I mean by that. They're in the playoffs. They're in the picture. The point that I'm trying to make to you is this. Here you are. This is what I mean when I say you disgust me. You want to sit up there and root for everything to go on. I mean, you're the guy that was hoping people would get kidnapped when they were playing against the San Antonio Spurs. You're probably sitting up in there hoping that something happens to Tony, that something happens to Aaron Rodgers on the way to the game, so Matt Flynn will be in the lineup. I'm sorry. I'm from y'all watch some wrestling up in here? I'm from the Ric Flair, that ain't your boy, the school of Ric Flair. Whoa! You understand? To beat a man, you've got to beat the man. You should want Aaron Rodgers at his best, but somebody appears to be a bit scared there, I say.
Okay. By the way, quick point on LeBron James last year in the NBA Finals.
I want to talk about last year.
He wishes he had been kidnapped before the finals because that's how bad it was for him in the finals.
But that was a low blow.
Yeah.
That was a low blow. Nobody brought up LeBron, and I wasn't talking about
You
him.
brought up LeBron.
No,
I didn't say LeBron.
I said you were the guy wishing during the Western Conference Playoffs. That's how you were.
Question.
Had nothing to do with LeBron.
Speaking of pathetic, you have already leaped to the conclusion that the bad man who is Aaron Rodgers is going to go down in history as the greatest quarterback ever. And I have one quick question, little stat question. Who has lost 3 of his last 4 playoff games?
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. He's lost 2 of those.
Aaron Rodgers.
At home.
Hold on.
Hold on. He's lost 2 at home.
Hold up, Mr. Tom Brady. Hold up, Mr. Tom Brady, who hasn't won a Super Bowl.
This is not about Tom Brady.
ain't about, listen, you always bring it up.
You're trying to change the subject because you can't get out of this one.
No, I'm on the subject. You always get on Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has a Super Bowl championship more recently than Tom Brady. And Peyton Manning. But you're right about them all the time.
Three of his last 4 playoff games.
Mere bag of shells.
Mere bag of shells. He's going to be the greatest ever.
It's not his fault that the defense don't show up. It's not his fault that he's got to rely on and do everything. Without him, the Green Bay Packers, they're not a playoff team. He's everything to the Green Bay Packers. Everything.
Everything.
Everything. And everybody knows it. They ain't getting it with Matt Flynn.
Okay, so Stephen A. Mike McCarthy said that even if Aaron Rodgers was 70%, he's better than most of the quarterbacks in the league. So
absolutely. Aaron Rodgers at 70% is better than at least 23 to 25 quarterbacks in the NFL.
If he's 70% on Sunday, your team is going to lose on Sunday.
If he's 70% on Sunday, that is quite possible because he needs to be elite to match Dallas's offensive firepower. It's not that he's not going to do his job. I don't expect the defense to do theirs.
Okay, but remember, you brought up the Allen Iverson line. We're talking about practices, plural, right? Not just practice. God bless you. Practices.
Okay.
So he's missing a whole bunch of practice time. I acknowledge that he's great at home, but maybe a little rusty. Could he be a little rusty?
Blasphemy.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Listen, let me tell you something. He's Aaron Rodgers. It's Lambeau Field. It's Randall Cobb and Jordy Nelson. Receivers he's familiar with and who are familiar with him. He has to be healthy. I'll give you that. But I am not concerned about him missing practices because he's been around long enough and they've played with him long enough where he can afford. I didn't hear you complaining about that when Tony Romo had the 2 broken bones in the back.
Yeah, but you know what? He missed 1 practice a week on Wednesday. Then he practiced on Thursday and Friday.
All right, but if he missed a few practices, you weren't going to be fazed by that.
All right, let's talk about Tony Romo. Tony Romo
Thank you. I'm tired of talking about Aaron Rodgers.
2 touchdown passes.